Hello. I never know the exact moment I go live, so I'm always standing here going by myself, but I'm not ashamed. I hope everyone is well. I see a lot of my regulars here, and I apologize if my head gets cut off. I think my camera tripod is a little wonky today, so if you have a weird angle, I apologize for that. So, and I also want to say thank you for joining this week because I had to cancel last week, so that was a little bit of a kerfuffle there with our internet, but we're back again today, and I'm making a really delicious recipe that's super easy with potatoes that I've been trying to show you guys for weeks, and one week I just changed my mind, and then last week was canceled, so I'm really excited now that I can make this recipe because it's the cheapest, easiest recipe you can probably make. That's just a false claim. I have not calculated the totals, but I'm guessing this is the cheapest, easiest recipe you can make. And it involves potatoes, which is awesome. So we are making today a vegan, sort of a lazy version of vegan scallop potatoes. So I know it's a nice traditional food, so I know a lot of people are going to enjoy it. So that involves potatoes, and it also involves a sauce. And so we're going to be reusing a recipe I think I showed on a previous live demo of like a really quick sort of cheesy, a little bit creamy sauce. And we're going to use that to sort of make our lazy version of scalloped potatoes. So we can go ahead and get started. And I feel like I'm like super close to this camera tripod. So just to remind you, for the cheesy sauce, so this was the one where we took the water, the aquafaba, out of the can of chickpeas. So save your chickpeas for something else. So we have that here. And I found over time that if you make sure the aquafaba is cold, for some reason that works better. Don't ask me why. And then we're going to need a little bit of nutritional yeast, of course, and tamari, my two favorites, and a little bit of whole wheat flour. And then for some reason for these scalloped potatoes made me want to add smoked paprika. So we're going to add that, but you can basically add whatever flavor you want to the sauce. Last week I made it anyway, even though I couldn't have the cooking demo. And I actually put some dried thyme in the sauce, which turned out amazing. My dad, who is watching, got me some cool herbs, and I used the thyme in that last time. So let's check this out. So this sauce, we're going to get this sauce cooking, and then I'll show you how to prepare the potatoes. But this recipe is so fast that it'll be over before you can blink. So let's see here. All right, there's my pan. So we have a pan here, and we've got our aquafaba. So we're going to put that in. And then we're going to put only a teaspoon of the tamari. And I have this like extra special one that's really potent. So I'm just going to do just under a teaspoon. But you want to put a teaspoon of that. Usually when I'm cooking like stir fries and stuff, I'll dump a ton in. But this just needs a little bit. And then we're going to do 1/3 of a cup of the nutritional yeast. So this is going to give it like a savory flavor, and it's also going to thicken it, which is good. And then we have about 2 tablespoons of whole wheat flour, and that's also going to thicken it. So we're going to add water. We're going to likely have to add water to this. And then I'm going to put, this is not very professional, but I'm just going to put a little bit of smoked paprika, about that much. So that's probably half a teaspoon. But like I said, you can put whatever you want. You could put like thyme and rosemary in this would be really good, or whatever kind of savory herbs and spices you want. And I have this on pretty low because I want to do the potatoes with you. But we're going to just stir that. And it's already, I had this pan on a bit, so I have it on about medium, and it's going to get thicker than that. So I'm going to prepare some water for us to put quickly in there. I say prepare the water like I'm making it, but I'm not. So we have some water coated, and we're going to put this on low because I'm doing something else, but you can put this on sort of medium high, and it'll thicken up in like a couple of minutes. It's really awesome. So now we're going to prepare our potatoes, and this is where the lazy version comes in. So what you need to do first is steam your potatoes. So I have a bunch of potatoes. I like leaving the skin on. It's very nutritious, but if you're worried about pesticides or whatever, you can peel them or get organic potatoes. So this is, what is this, two, four, like 6 medium or small potatoes. So then these have already been steamed till they're fairly soft, like soft enough to put a knife through. We're not going to cook it too much after, so you want to make sure that they're pretty cooked. And then you're basically going to cut sort of thin slices into these potatoes. And I probably should have done some of this in the preparation. So I'll try to cut these potatoes really quick for you, but we're cooking our sauce too. So this is a really sort of faster, which is why I call it like a lazy version of scalloped potatoes, because usually scalloped potatoes would involve raw potatoes, and it would involve making sort of a more complicated sauce. And then it probably take like an hour to cook it. Whereas steaming these potatoes took, maybe 15 minutes. So that's where we're cutting some time if you're short on time. Or if you have steamed potatoes from something else, you can definitely use them. All right. I also apparently need a bigger cutting board. So again, you want these to be 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch. You want them to be fairly thin. There we go. I didn't take too long doing that. So we've got one more here. And again, I'm just using a small tray. So if you are going to make a big platter of this, you can double the potatoes and sauce. So we have all our potatoes cut. You can kind of see them there. Sorry, the camera went off the rail. And then I also have some white onion just chopped up sort of thin. When I had scalloped potatoes growing up, they always had onion in it. So, oh, my dad's asking, why is it best to keep the aquafaba cold? I think it just thickens up faster. So you can see this is already getting thick. So I am going to put just a splash of this water in. That was 1/3 cup and I've used 1/2. So this is going to get really thick because of the flour and the nutritional yeast. But let's turn up the heat a tiny bit. Okay, now we're flipping back to the potatoes. Hope I answered that question for you. So I have just a square pan, and I like to put some parchment paper, not wax paper. I think I made that mistake in my past and did wax paper, and you'll just start smoking everything out of your oven. So now what we're going to do is lay the potatoes out in rows, and you kind of have to watch the size of the potatoes, because you don't want all the same size in the same spot, because it won't end up even. So you kind of just have to play with it and spread them out. And just make sure they're kind of in nice rows here, but you want to have them spread out enough because we're going to put some onion in there, and we're going to have to do the sauce in there. So now this is something that happens when you're, like, especially for me, if I'm cooking just for myself or just me and Frank, sometimes like you don't fill the whole pan. Sometimes you don't want to make that much. So don't worry if that happens and you don't have enough potatoes. I'm going to pack these in here. You don't want to leave this open because you don't want the sauce to fly everywhere. And so what you can do is just roll this up and fold it real tight, and you can make your own smaller pan. So if you're cooking for yourself, you can just do 1 row if you want, or 2 rows if you want, and you can just roll it up and you can make your own size pan. So don't ever worry that you're not making the recipe perfect. Do what you can, right? So let's stir our sauce here. It's actually getting really thick, so I'm going to put a little bit more water in. There we go. So that's still cooking off. So what we're going to do then with the potatoes is I like to take, so these should be really thin so that they'll cook when we're baking this, but we're not baking it for a long time, so they should be really thin. So you can just tuck some onion slices, however much you want, underneath the potatoes. You could put anything in here, actually. You could put other small bits of vegetables. I remember making a scalloped potatoes one time that had corn sort of mixed in it with the sauce, which was good. So let's get them all in there. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to cover this with sauce and we're going to bake it. So you don't have to be exact. I don't think I'm ever exact in my cooking, which is funny because I used to bake a lot and baking is supposed to be more exact than cooking. And I still didn't really like measure stuff out back then. So, very strange. Okay, so now we have our potatoes and onions. So again, we just folded that in to make it fit. So we're good to go. And our sauce is very good to go. You could even, if you really wanted to thin it out, you could add more water. But I'd say that's pretty thick enough for us. So there we have our sauce. And now this is where the really lazy part comes in. Oh, and I just saw a suggestion from Rachel about putting leeks in. That would actually be really good too. I actually haven't cooked with leeks in a long time. All right, so this is the lazy version where we're just going to pour this sauce right over. Oh, it looks so gooey. So you just want to evenly pour it over. And if you really love sauce, I would even it would be really good to double this sauce and flood it. But then you have to eat 2 cans of chickpeas too. So if you're really into chickpeas, double this sauce for something really great. And then if you had some and you wanted to do it, you could also put some vegan cheese over this. Look how thick this sauce got, super thick. Awesome. So that is it. That's all you have to do to prepare these lazy scalloped potatoes. So then what I do usually is you could put them on a low temperature for longer if you have other stuff that you're cooking. But what I've done is I usually put them in on a broil, just in the middle rack, and then for at least 10 minutes, and they'll get nice and crispy. Nice and crispy. And through the magic of television or just me being prepared, I have a mini version. I'll have to show this to you at an angle. Look at that. Look how crispy and saucy these are. So this is the sauce did go down to the bottom and it got crispy. I like the crispy tops on the scalloped potatoes. But if you had double the sauce, then you'd get the crispiness and you'd get a whole whack of sauce down at the bottom. So that would be supreme. But again, I'm not about to eat that many chickpeas. So I guess you could freeze them. Now, my favorite part is the taste test. And actually, if you notice closely, this piece down at the bottom is loose because I was going to eat it right before I went live, and then it made the tray look incomplete, so I didn't eat it. So now I'm going to eat it. So you can, I don't know if you can see all the sauce is down at the bottom. It's so good. Okay. I got to stop talking and eat this. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's so much sauce on the bottom. It's so good. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Oh, look, it's going to drip. So good. Okay, let's go. It's so savory, super, super duper comfort food with the potatoes and the sauce, but it's super healthy. Potatoes are not the enemy. They're very nutritious if you get the yellow flesh, red flesh, sweet potato. Sweet potato in this would be good. And then the aquafaba is super low calorie, and it's also got probably a lot of protein. So this whole serving that I calculated, if you're watching that, is about 230 calories, which is pretty good for 2 potatoes and some sauce. So this is awesome. I hope you enjoy this super short video. I think they keep getting shorter and shorter every time I do them, but That's what I love about vegan cooking, is that you can do it really quick and easy, which makes it easy for families, and it makes it easy for single people that are on the go, whatever it is, whoever you are, you can cook delicious and easy vegan food. So please like this video, please share the video, any of my videos, and please keep watching every week. I really appreciate it, and it's so much fun when I see the chat going off and everything, and I see all the same people logging back in and get messages and comments on the videos. It's awesome. So please keep at it. But otherwise, that's it. I'm going to eat all these potatoes, and I'm having mine with some, I think I'm going to do some broccoli and a vegan sausage. So enjoy. Have a good one. Bye.